When my family is about to have a rather busy Saturday, I will often sit down with Fletcher and Sophia and tell them how this day is going to go. Give them sort of a daily briefing. Who is going where, when, what are the tasks? And once the details of the maneuvers of the day have been established and clarified, I will glance over at Olivia, and either she will say, "Thank you, Russ," or I will make some comment about this briefing is brought to you by Russell Kuhn. That would be my dad, and that's how Jake and I were sort of briefed on the weekend when we would start a weekend out. It's what my dad did, and it's now something I do. I'm guessing that telling this story, you could probably take a moment and you could name a few things that you do just like one of your parents or someone in your family. Uh, and I'm guessing it's probably more than one thing. Today, we're continuing as we go through Genesis. We're turning to Isaac. And Isaac, who is Abraham's son, Isaac's life, much of it can be seen in this fashion, as sort of an echo, a reflection of what his father had done in earlier days. Like his father, he doesn't marry someone from the land they've settled in, the promised land. He goes back to the land they had come from. Abraham sends a servant to go find a wife for Isaac. And when he comes home with Rebekah. So Abraham and Sarah, who we've been following along, they have a son, Isaac, and Isaac's wife is Rebekah. And Rebekah is a rather strong-willed, proactive woman. She decides that when the servant says, "Let's go meet the guy who's about to be your husband," she could have said, "You know what, I need 10 months up to almost a year of time to get ready to leave." And she looked at her parents and, "I'm going to go right now." And she left. Like she called the shot. She decided how this was going to unfold. And so they go back, or she goes back with the servant. Isaac and Rebekah get married. And one of the first challenges they faced as a married couple is a famine. Just like Abraham had to face when he was a young man married. How is he going to handle that? Isaac doesn't go to Egypt. They go to a place called Gerar. But just like his dad, he is worried that someone is going to make a play for his wife, Rebekah. And so he does the same thing his dad did. He tells the people that she's not my wife. She says, excuse me. He says she's my sister. And just like his dad, he has found out, and just like his dad, it causes problems. It's a real issue. It kind of blows up on him. One thing he does differently, though, from his father, is he does not marry additional wives. It may be that this was a choice he made. It could be that something that Rebekah insisted on. The more that I read the story of this, how this family dynamic is, the more I lean towards it might be something Rebekah said no to, and Isaac said, okay. But Isaac, down the road, will tell one of his sons not to have multiple wives. And when Esau does have multiple wives, it will go poorly for him. And so that's something he does. That's a good thing, a step forward. And he does remain faithful to the promise given to his father, that he will become the father of many nations, and I will be your God, and you will be my people. And he is faithful to that call. Now, Isaac and Rebekah, they have two sons, fraternal twins. They're not identical twins. They have Esau and Jacob. Esau was known by his thick hair, and it sounds like he took after his mom to a degree. Decisive, moving, doing something right now. He acts quickly, taking charge. And so of the two parents, if you think about how this would unfold, if Esau, the eldest, is to take charge, then he is more likely to along with his dad, because his characteristic is like his mother and his mom and his wife, his mom and dad. Like, you just think about how that would unfold. And then Jacob, which means heel, He was born a few seconds later. He was grabbing at his brother's heel, tripping up his brother, so to speak. He is willing to kind of be flexible, be told what to do. And so he is more like his father, who is willing to be told what to do by Rebekah. And so Rebekah takes a shining to the younger son, to Jacob. Now, this is not to say that Jacob is a complete pushover. He can be rather conniving by himself. He has grown up and he has watched his grandfather and how his father be willing to pull a fast one to try to be conniving to get away with things. And so there's comes this day when Esau comes home from work. He's working outside, he's working out in the field, and we read that Jacob has cooked a tasty meal. Esau comes home and he's hungry, and he asks for a serving of this stew, this meal that Jacob has cooked. And Jacob, he asks for something crazy. He says, "Give me your birthright for this meal." And as a practical matter, we got to take a moment to understand what he has just asked for. So a birthright, that's part of asking for an inheritance. The way inheritance works is you took the number of male children and you add one more, and then you divide the inheritance by that number. And then the birthright gets that extra portion. And so if you have 5 kids, you take all the property and you divide it by 6, and the eldest gets his 5th share plus that extra share, that 6th share. So the eldest would get 1/3 of that. Or if there were 12 kids, then you split everything into 13 pieces, and the eldest would get the 12th share and the 13th share. In this situation, 2 siblings. So you split everything into 3 shares, and Esau, as the eldest, gets 2/3. And that's what he's just been asked for. In return for a bowl of soup, give me 1/3 of the assets of the family. And if you think back to like Abraham had enough assets and livestock that when he came to town, the Pharaoh paid attention. When he mustered up his men to go save Lot, he could muster over 300 men under arms to be able to go take military action. We're talking about a significant amount of assets here. And that's what Jacob's just asked for. And Esau responds, "Well, my birthright won't be any good to me if I'm dead. I'm gonna die if I don't get something to eat. So yes, I'll give you my birthright." And that's what he does. It's bonkers. And so the family continues to continue, and there comes the day when the father, Isaac, is so sick that he can't continue to work. He's going to retire effectively. He looks at his children. This is Genesis 27, and he says, "Behold, I am old, and I do not know the day of my death," which tells them that it is coming. Like the fact that he's not saying the week or the month, like the day of my death. He knows something is coming. And so he says to his eldest son Esau, the one that he gets along with better, he says, "Go take your gear, your quiver and your bow, and go hunt some game, and prepare a savory dish for me such as I love, and then I may bless you before I die." So he's going to bless. He's going to give the birthright. He's going to give the blessing. He's going to read the will. He's going to settle everything up. This is a rather formal moment when Isaac blesses this son. Like that son is now going to be the head of the family. This is a really big deal. And so Esau runs off to go grab his bow and arrow. And he's going to go do it immediately. Taking after his mama, he's going to do something. Unfortunately for him, his mama's listening in, and his mama hears. So when Esau went to the field to hunt for game to bring home, Rebekah said to her son, Jacob, the younger one, "Behold, I heard your father speak to your brother," and explains what he had said. "Now therefore, my son, Jacob, listen to me. Go to the flock, bring 2 choice kids from there, young goats, that I might prepare them as a dish. I will bring it to your father that he may eat and he may bless you." So his mom was telling him, "I want you to pull a fast one." And Jacob answered his mama and said, "Behold, my brother is hairy, and I'm not. Like, practically, Mom. He doesn't say we shouldn't do this. He says, I don't think we can pull this off. Perhaps my father will feel me, then I shall be as a deceiver, and I shall bring upon myself a curse. And his mother said to him, your curse be on me, only obey my voice. And so that's what Jacob does. His mother tells him what to do. He should just lie, just like his father has lied under stress before, and that's what he does. And so he went out and brought to them. He goes out, he gets the livestock, brings them to his mom, who makes the dish, and she puts the skin of the kids on Jacob's hand, so he feels hairy, the skin of the animal skins. And so he goes to his father and says, my father, and this is Esau, your firstborn, Esau. I have done as you told me. And Isaac said, how is it you've done so quickly? And he says, well, God has blessed me with this. And Isaac is saying, it sounds like my younger son, but he reaches out and touches his hand. But it feels like my older son. So it must be my older son. And so he gives him this blessing. He says, now may God give you the dew of the heavens, the rain. May the rains, and if you think of someone who lives with farming and livestock, like to have the heavens, the rains be on your side, that's a big deal, right? May God give you the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth, the fatness, the pasture land that build up to your livestock so they can be fat and well fed, right? So the dew of heaven, the fatness of the earth, the abundance of grain and new wine. May people serve you. Nations bow down to you. Be master of your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those who curse you, and blessed be those who bless you. And all those words, like, that's it. Jacob is now the head of the family. His brothers will bow down to him. The words have been said. Like in our modern times, we would say, well, but did he sign it? Well, there's nothing to sign. Like in that culture, in that time, he has said it. And in saying it, he has done it. And now it is done. Now it came about as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob. Jacob had hardly gone out from the presence of his father, and Esau comes in, and Esau is angry. He realized what's happened. He is angry. So Esau bore a grudge, as he should, right, against Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said to himself, the days of mourning for my father are near, because his dad's going to die, right? Then I will kill my brother. These are a very real threat here. And when the words of her elder son were reported to Rebekah, she called her younger son and said, behold, your brother Esau is going to kill you. Now, therefore, my son, obey my voice and flee to my brother Laban and stay with him a few days until your brother's fury subsides, until your brother's anger against you subsides. Why should I be bereaved and lose both of you in the same day? And so we're going to follow how that unfolds next week. So again, Rebekah takes control and sends Jacob off to get a wife, is what it turns into. So just like his grandfather and just like his father, Jacob will go back to the family homeland to find a wife. He's going to go off and meet his uncle Laban. We'll follow that trip next week, but for now we need to stop and just stand in the wreckage of this family. Because it's a wreck. Like this is bad. If a family walked into my office and told me this set of facts are going on in their family, like a dying father, two sons in the middle of a massive inheritance battle, long, drawn-out threat of violence, a mother who's taking sides, a family tradition of lying, like I'm not sure what I'd brew some tea and then I don't know what I'd do next. Like that's hard. How does pondering this family apply at all to how we think through how to be family today? That's the challenge of this text. And I think we can look at this and acknowledge a few things. We each echo the lives of the generations that have come before us to some degree. Maybe as much as Isaac, maybe less. It is fascinating how little we know about Isaac. In so many ways, Isaac is the bridge between Abraham and Jacob. Like as soon as we start learning about Isaac, it's that he's going to have these two kids. these two children, these two sons. Like Isaac is a very passing character, and so we don't know a whole lot. And what we do know is that he is echoing what his father did, right? What we see in this family that we're reading of is both some of the very good things of that father, his father Abraham, that he's faithful and committed to God, but we're also seeing some things he echoes, he continues, that are just not. Like he has seen the way that his father lies, and that Isaac is willing to lie, and then his son does it as well. His son is willing to lie. Can we look at our family in the same way that we can look at this family? And can we take a moment to ponder what it is that echoes down through generations? What, in the same way that things echo from Abraham and Sarah to Isaac and Rebekah, then down to Jacob and Esau and all the family to come, right? What has echoed down through our families? Now, it would be tempting to put ourselves in their places. Like that's the easy way. Like if for example, my daughter Sophia had sold her brand new alto saxophone to Fletcher for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich after school, I would have sat them down. I know what I'd do. I'd sit them down and say, no, that's not how we treat each other. You are going to make your own PBJ. You're going to give the saxophone back. And I would have addressed that head on, right? We would have had a discussion. But that, as I said, that's taking the easy way out on this. And the easy way is not to say how I would have handled that family situation among Isaac and Jacob and Esau. The challenging and I think far more real way to read this is to say, I can see that Isaac needed to name some of the things that he needed to stop echoing, stop passing down in his family, as well as what he needs to continue. And what do I need to do with that with my family, right? What would I need? What would we need? My family dynamic need to be? What would I rather not grapple with what I've inherited, with what is in my family history? These stories out of Genesis, as we're reading through them, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all of his sons and Joseph, one of the reasons these are so powerful is because they wrap the intensely personal, the private lives of families. Right? These are siblings fighting. Right? This is the private lives of families. It wraps the private lives of families into the promises that God is making. And it isn't that the families that we read are perfect, because they are not. But we can both learn from them and, just as importantly, hold on to those same promises. Right? That God's good plan can continue to unfold through what we do, and sometimes in spite of what we do. Right? So it is my hope that one day my children can read this Isaac to Jacob and Esau moment, and together we can ponder what we need to think about when it comes to what do we not need to when we think about what we're echoing down through the generations. What is it that we need to stop? What is it we need to say that this is unhealthy? As this is passed from father to son, from parent to child, what do we need to stop repeating so we can do something else? And what do we need to hold on to as profoundly good? How can we name the good things that Olivia and I have done and are passing down through them? And this hopefully can be done someday with a solid dose of grace and humility and even some humor, because we'll need it. For today, maybe what I need to sit down and ask of myself and of my family is, what type of family do we want to be going forward? What do we want to cherish? Right? How are we living into what we want most of what family is? And what do we want to leave behind? In the same way that Isaac is able to move towards monogamy and fidelity, which is wonderful, but he really needed to leave behind the lying, right? Can we do that trusting that however our families turn out, that God is calling us and pulling us into a future in which this family, this church family, this whole family that's greater than just the people who have the last name, the family of those who follow Jesus Christ, that we are being pulled together towards the kingdom of God, in which this family will be made whole, will be complete, and dare I even say, this family will be saved.